Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
What if everything you thought you knew about life, your identity, your goals, your very purpose was just a carefully constructed illusion? What if the struggles, the heartbreaks, the endless searching were all leading you to something far bigger than you ever imagined? Most people go through life asleep, trapped in routines, chasing things that were never truly meant for them. But a few those who wake up realize something unsettling. Reality is not what it seems, and neither are they. Welcome to Forbidden Text, where we uncover hidden knowledge and forbidden wisdom. By the end of this video, you won't just understand your true purpose, you'll feel it. And once you see it, there's no going back. It's part of something ancient, something powerful. And if you ignore it, if you try to force yourself back into the old life, it won't work. Once you start awakening, the old world loses its grip on you. But here's the real question. Now that you're waking up, what do you do next? The answer is coming. Keep watching. Most people think a spiritual awakening is some peaceful, blissful moment like you sit under a tree, hear the whispers of the universe, and suddenly everything makes sense. That's a lie. Real awakening, it rips you apart. It shatters the version of yourself you thought was real. And the worst part, no one warns you. No one tells you that once you start seeing through the illusion, you can't unsee it. Maybe you felt it. The disconnect. The creeping realization that the life you've built doesn't actually fit you anymore. The conversations that once felt normal now feel empty. The things that used to excite you now feel like distractions. Even the people around you, something about them seems different, like they're stuck in a dream. But you're waking up. You're not crazy. You're awakening. But what does that even mean? That's not how it works. Awakening doesn't give you answers. It strips away the illusion so you can finally ask the right questions. And that's when things get really interesting. Because if you're waking up, what exactly are you waking up from? And more importantly, what's waiting for you after the awakening? Stay with me. It's about to get even deeper. There's a reason awakening feels like your entire life is falling apart. Because in a way, it is. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen. A spiritual awakening doesn't add something new to your life, it takes away everything false. The beliefs that were never really yours. The expectations placed on you by society, by family, by a world that wants you to conform, not question. That's why the first phase of awakening is brutal. It's called the breakdown, but some people know it as the dark night of the soul. You might even start questioning reality itself, why you're here, what any of this even means. It's terrifying. It feels like losing everything. But here's what no one tells you. That's not the end. It's the beginning. Because when the old life collapses, something incredible happens. You start seeing beyond the illusion. Maybe you notice synchronicities, repeating numbers, strange coincidences, a feeling like the universe is trying to tell you something. Maybe your intuition gets stronger. You start sensing things before they happen. People's energy becomes obvious to you, almost like you can read them without words. And most importantly, you start realizing you're not who you thought you were. This is the discovery phase. The moment where you see through the cracks in reality and realize there's more to you, more to this life, more to everything. It's like the entire world is a puzzle, and you've just been given a few missing pieces. But even then, you're still not there yet. Awakening isn't just about knowing the truth, it's about becoming it. And that's where most people get stuck. They wake up, but they don't know what to do next. Because make no mistake, awakening isn't just about seeing reality differently. It's about stepping into your real purpose. And once you understand what that purpose truly is, everything changes. Stay with me. You're closer than you think. Most people spend their entire lives searching for purpose like it's some hidden treasure, something out there, waiting to be found. That's the lie. Because purpose isn't something you find. It's something you remember. The real reason you feel lost isn't because you don't have a purpose, it's because the world convinced you to forget it. Think about it. From the moment you were born, you were handed a script. Go to school, get a job, make money, chase success, follow the rules, stay in line, do what's expected. But deep down, didn't you always feel like something was off? Like you were meant for something more? That feeling wasn't wrong. But passions come and go. Purpose is deeper. It's the reason you were born into this world at this exact moment in history. It's encoded into your soul. And if you look closely, the clues have always been there. The struggles you faced, the moments that nearly broke you, they weren't random. They were shaping you, training you, preparing you for something greater. The things you're naturally drawn to, the topics you obsess over, the moments when you feel most alive, those aren't accidents. They're pieces of the puzzle. And the reason you felt disconnected, the reason the old life doesn't fit anymore, is because you're finally waking up to it. But here's where most people go wrong. They get glimpses of their purpose, and then they freeze. They wait for some perfect moment to start. They wait for a sign. They wait until they feel ready. You will never feel ready. Because stepping into your purpose isn't comfortable. It's terrifying. It means letting go of the version of yourself that plays small, that fits in, that stays safe. It means becoming something bigger. How do you move from awakening to action? That's what's coming next. Don't stop now. This is where everything shifts. Now that you see the truth, there's only one question left. What are you going to do about it? Because here's the hard part about waking up once you see the illusion. You can't just sit back and pretend it's real. You either step into your purpose, or you spend the rest of your life haunted by the knowledge that you didn't. So how do you move forward? How do you turn an awakening into something real? Step 1. Let go of who you thought you were, the person you were before, the one chasing things that never truly satisfied them. That version of you is dead. And yet, most people cling to their old identity like a lifeline, afraid of what happens if they let go. But the truth is, the moment you release who you thought you were, you create space for who you were meant to be. But you have to understand, you're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. Step 2. Strengthen your connection to Source. Call it the universe. Call it God. Call it your higher self, whatever name you give it. You know it's real. That feeling in your gut, that strange synchronicity, that unshakable knowing deep inside you, that's not your imagination. That's your connection. And if you want clarity, if you want guidance, you need to strengthen it. Meditation, silence, time in nature. Writing down the thoughts that come to you before your mind has time to censor them. The more you listen, the louder it gets. And here's the trick. The universe is always communicating with you. You just have to be quiet enough to hear it. Step 3. Align your life with your awakening. You know it doesn't work. Trying to wake up while still living by the rules of a system designed to keep you asleep. If something in your life is draining you, if it feels out of sync with your awakening, it has to go. The relationships that pull you back into your old self. And don't be surprised when new opportunities, new people, new paths start appearing. That's not luck. That's alignment. Step 4. Find your unique way to serve. Here's what most people get wrong about purpose. It's not about just making yourself happy. It's about what you bring to the world. Every person who has ever awakened, every great teacher, every revolutionary, every artist, every visionary didn't stop at knowing the truth. They acted on it. And you were given this awakening for a reason. Maybe your purpose is to heal others. Maybe it's to create, to teach, to lead, to build something that didn't exist before. Maybe your mission isn't clear yet, but it's calling you all the same. And the moment you stop thinking about it and start doing something, no matter how small, the path begins to reveal itself. What comes next is what separates those who see the truth from those who live it. The choice is yours. Keep watching. Waking up is one thing. Living awake is another. And this is where most people fail. Not because they don't want to move forward, but because no one ever told them how hard it is to stay awake in a world designed to put them back to sleep. You've probably felt it already. The loneliness. The feeling that no one around you understands what you're going through. The frustration of watching people chase things that no longer make sense to you. And the biggest challenge, the fear. Fear of leaving behind the old version of yourself. Fear of what people will think. Fear that maybe, just maybe, you're making it all up. Let's be clear, you're not. These challenges are part of the journey. And if you don't know how to handle them, they'll pull you right back into the illusion. Feeling alone. And when you try to explain what you're going through, blank stares. That's because most people aren't ready to wake up, and some never will be. But you've already crossed the threshold. And while it might feel isolating at first, you need to understand something. Your people exist. The ones who see what you see. The ones who are walking the same path. And the more you step into your truth, the more they will show up. But first, you have to make space for them. And that means letting go of relationships that keep you tied to the old version of yourself. Some people will lead. Some will try to pull you back into who you used to be. Let them go. Your path is bigger than their comfort. The fear of change and letting go. Here's the irony of awakening. Even though you wanted this, even though you asked for the truth, part of you still resists it.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
Stay in places, habits, and mindsets that keep them small. But here's the secret. The fear never goes away. It's not supposed to. Because fear isn't a stop sign, it's a doorway. And the bigger the fear, the greater the transformation waiting on the other side. So ask yourself, what are you clinging to right now that no longer fits the person you're becoming? What would happen if you let it go? Not someday. Now. Staying grounded in a chaotic world, there's another trap that a lot of awakened people fall into, one that stops their growth dead in its tracks. It's called spiritual bypassing. It happens when people wake up, see the world differently, and then decide to escape reality instead of transforming it. They detach from everything. They convince themselves that nothing matters. They sit on a mountaintop, meditate, and wait for the universe to handle things for them. But that's not what you're here for. Awakening isn't about leaving the world behind. It's about changing it. Practicing presence instead of escapism. Because the truth is, this world needs you awake. It needs more people who can see through the lies, who can bring light into the darkness, who can stand strong when everything else is crumbling. And if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, that person is you. But there's still one last piece to all of this. Because awakening isn't a single event. It's a cycle. And right now, you're standing at the edge of the next one. What happens next will determine everything. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Don't look away now. This is where everything comes full circle. You probably thought awakening was the destination. That once you saw through the illusion, once you knew the truth, you'd finally have all the answers. This is the cycle of awakening. And right now, you're at the edge of your next breakthrough. The question is, will you resist it, or will you step into it? Growth is a lifelong journey. You're not the same person you were before. And a year from now, you won't be the person you are today. That's how this works. The moment you get too comfortable, the moment you think, this is it, I've arrived, the universe will shake things up. Because growth isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Every time you level up, life will test you again. Not to punish you, but to expand you. Old fears might resurface. New challenges will appear. People you thought were aligned with you may fall away. And the mistake most people make, they think this means they're going backward. You're not. You're being called higher. Every ending is a beginning. Every loss is making space for something greater. Every challenge is showing you what still needs to be healed. Your future is unwritten, but you're more in control than you think. You are creating your reality. But that's not you. Not anymore. Because now you know the truth. The universe isn't something outside of you. It's working through you. You don't have to wait for the right time. You don't have to wait for another sign. You don't have to be ready. You just have to decide. Decide to trust the path unfolding in front of you. Decide to take action even if you don't have all the answers yet. Decide that you are not here to play small, to live on autopilot, to sleepwalk through a life that was never meant for you. Because if you're still watching this, if you felt the pull of everything we've talked about, then you already know. The world is changing. Consciousness is shifting. And the reason you're waking up now, not years ago, not decades from now, but now is because you are part of that shift. Your awakening is just the beginning. You have two choices from here. You can take everything you've learned, nod your head, and go back to life as usual. Try to fit back into a world that no longer makes sense. Pretend you didn't just feel something shift inside you. Or you can step forward. Walk into the unknown. Trust that something bigger is guiding you. Because the truth is, you're not alone in this. You never have been. And everything in your life, the struggles, the signs, even this very moment has been leading you here. Now the question is, what will you do with it? You've reached the edge of something most people will never dare to face. The truth. And now that you've seen it, you have a choice. Go back, pretend this never happened. Bury yourself in distractions. Force yourself to fit into a reality you've outgrown. Or step forward. But stepping forward means everything changes. No more pretending. No more playing small. No more ignoring the voice inside you that's been whispering, maybe even screaming that you were meant for more. And that means you can never go back to who you were before. The world needs your light. Most people think their purpose is about personal happiness. That it's about finding the thing that makes them feel fulfilled. But purpose is bigger than that. Your purpose is about what you bring to others. Every awakened person throughout history, the mystics, the rebels, the ones who changed the course of humanity, had one thing in common. They didn't keep their awakening to themselves. They used it. They lived it. And that's what you're being called to do now. Because the world is shifting. More people are waking up, but they're lost. They need people who've already been through the fire, people like you to help guide the way. You can feel it. And now, it's up to you. You can keep waiting, hoping for another sign, another push, another moment where it all feels easy. Or you could decide, right now, that your old life is over. that you are stepping into the person you are meant to be. That from this moment forward, you will live awake. Because the truth is, your time isn't someday. It's not later. It's not when you feel ready. Your time is now. So the real question is, what will you do with it? There is no more waiting. No more searching for permission. No more playing small in a world that desperately needs you to step into who you truly are. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The moment you woke up, you signed up for this. You weren't given this awareness by accident. You weren't drawn to this message by coincidence. Everything has been leading you here. And now, it's time to decide. Not in some distant future. The discomfort. The feeling that something is missing, that life is happening around you, but you're not really in it. That's not punishment. That's your higher self refusing to let you forget. You didn't wake up just to survive. You woke up to transform. What happens next is up to you. Some people will watch this, nod their heads, feel inspired for a moment, and then do nothing. They'll wake up tomorrow, go back to their routines, let fear win, and convince themselves that someday they'll step into their purpose. But someday is the lie that keeps people trapped. Because this is the moment that matters. The moment you either commit to the path or turn away from it. So ask yourself, who will you be a year from now if you start today? Because deep down, you already know the answer. You've always known. And now, there's only one thing left to do. Decide. Because whether you rise or whether you stay where you are, the choice is yours. You've felt it. That pull deep inside. The part of you that knows you were meant for more. Not more distractions. Not more empty achievements. More meaning. More truth. More power. And yet, most people ignore this call. They drown it out with noise, social media, meaningless conversations, mind-numbing routines. Anything to avoid facing what's real. But you're still here. Listening. Feeling something shift inside you. That means you're different. That means you're ready. And now, the question isn't if you'll step into your purpose. The question is, will you answer the call or let it haunt you for the rest of your life? The path is already opening. Here's the thing about awakening: once you see the truth, life stops letting you ignore it. The old patterns won't satisfy you. The same conversations will feel empty. The version of you that's been buried under conditioning, fear, and expectation is fighting to emerge. And you can either let it rise or keep running from it. But if you keep running, it will eat at you. You'll feel stuck, lost, like something's missing, even if you have everything you were told would make you happy. And that's because you weren't meant to fit into a world built on illusions. You were meant to break them. This is your crossroads. Every awakened soul reaches this point. The moment where they either step into their power or fade back into the background. Most people choose the background. It's safer. It's easier. No risks, no judgment, no uncomfortable growth. But you have to ask yourself, is that really living? Because the people who change the world, the ones who truly find meaning, the ones who look back at their lives with no regrets, they all have one thing in common. Because if you walk away from this moment, if you let this realization slip through your fingers, you'll feel it. And you'll wonder, years from now, what your life could have been if you had just said yes to yourself. So, what will you do? No one can make this choice for you. You can either push this feeling down, pretend you never heard this message, and go back to the version of yourself that was comfortable but unfulfilled. Or you can step into the unknown. Trust yourself. Accept the fact that you are not here to live a small, forgettable life. You are here to wake up, to remember who you are, to stop waiting and finally become the person you were always meant to be. Because the door is open. The path is right in front of you. All you have to do is walk through it.